Hi, it's Carolina with alwaysexpectmore.com and 30minutecrafts.com, and today we're doing block 6 of our Cricut Maker block of the week, the Hourglass block. Ready? Let's get started. For our Hourglass block, we're using our yellow, our pink, and then our purple fabric, which is our outer border. And we're going to put this on a little different. The raw edge is way up here on the edge of the strip, but we're not going to use this strip to cut out of. We're actually going to use this larger piece here. And what we're going to do is line this up so that this selvage edge goes over the adhesive part. And let's see. So we've got the selvage edge going over the adhesive, and we'll press it down. Now we'll put our yellow and our pink fabrics on, and we're going to take this over to the machine and draw and cut. My yellow mat has this piece sticking up here, and I want to take best advantage of it. So I'm going to move these pieces over. And I've got 1, 2, 3, almost 4 inches, and I'm using 1, 2, 3, and a little bit of the 4th, so that'll fit fine. Then I have 3.5 inches here of open space, and I want to make sure that I don't cut into that, so that'll fit. I can hit continue. I've got my pen in place, my rotary blade in place, and I can load my mat. So you can see I cut it a little close on these top edges, but such a little amount of waste on this, and even if I'd cut it a teeny bit closer, I think I'd still be okay because I know exactly where I need to stitch because of my blue lines. So that was perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the purple and the pink mats. As always, make sure that you remove the pen and put the cap back on before we take everything back over to the mat. I had a bartender who told me that every drink is just this drink but with something else. So if you know like 5 basic drinks, you can figure out all the drinks by knowing what to substitute where. And that's a lot what quilting is, because if you notice, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 patch, but just with half square triangles in these corners and a different color in these corners. So we're going to make this by putting together our 2 sets of half square triangles and then stitching together our 9 patch, just like we did in weeks 1 and weeks 2. We'll put together these pieces and make sure to line them up. And then put them under the presser foot. and press down on our petal. Remember in week 2 we learned about chain piecing, so let's take advantage of that technique here. And it doesn't matter if you stitch it this way or if you stitch it this way. It's just a good habit to get into, to have your excess fabric on the left. And the reason that we do that is because when we get to bigger pieces, there often isn't enough space in this throat area. So we want to just get in the habit of all of our extra fabric goes there on the left. Alrighty. Okay. And now look, I ran out of bobbin thread. Sometimes I think I would like to plan some of these mistakes out so I can show you certain things. This was definitely not planned. When you run out of bobbin thread, just go ahead and cut your top thread and replace your bobbin. Replacing your bobbin is going to look different depending on the kind of machine that you have. For this older machine, I need to pull the thread up from the bobbin housing before I sew. Follow the instructions in your manual for your sewing machine to know how to replace your bobbin. Now I'm all set. I'll grab this and I'm going to go probably about an inch back from where I left off. Some people will say the right way to do this is to go ahead and remove the stitches, rip the seam, and start over. And you can do that. Adding this extra thread will put a little more bulk in there, but man, ripping out the seam is not my favorite thing to do. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to show you how to cheat, and I'm going to tell you that the little bit of bulk added by the little bit of thread, since this quilt is never getting entered in a competition, is just fine. There we go. So I finished that off. I'll want to clip my extra threads, obviously. And now I can press my triangles. You can press your triangles to the dark side, whichever is the dark side. For me, it's the purple fabric, which is the outer fabric. Yes, it's not actually purple, but it's the fabric that's marked as purple. As you try different quilt patterns, you'll see that sometimes they mark fabrics with certain colors. Often fabrics are marked with fabric number 1, fabric number 2, or fabric A, fabric B. Because all this is cut in the Cricut Maker, I assigned everything a color, and I thought that'd be the easiest way to do it. So now we have our half square triangles, and we really have just a regular 9 patch. So we'll go ahead and stitch that 9 patch together by chain piecing this one, and this one, and then adding this one, and this one to make our 3 rows, and then stitching our rows together. Because it's so easy to get these mixed up, I always lay them out before stitching the next set on. This ensures that I don't do something like this or something like this. I get everything put back in its correct spot. Make sure that everything looks right and I don't have to unsew anything or rip anything out. And then I can chain these last 2 together, or these last 3, I guess. We have everything all stitched together, and now we need to press our seams. Remember, with our 9 patch and our uneven 9 patch, one set's in, one set's out, one set's in. But how do you decide if this one's in or out? Because once this is in or out, the rest are this one's the opposite of that, and then this one's the opposite of that one. With this, it actually will matter because we've got this extra bulk from this seam. Well, we can go ahead and clip away the dog ear, and that reduces some of the bulk, but we still have all this extra bulk from that seam. So we don't want to press it back over onto itself if we can help it. So that means that this one's getting pressed in. All right, once we have this one pressed in, we know that this one needs to get pressed out. And that means the last one is getting pressed in again, which is perfect because we have yet another bulky seam and it does need to get pressed in. So we'll lay out our block, make sure that everything's in the right position, and we can stitch our top 2 rows together and then add our bottom row to finish up our block. We're going to make sure that when we put these pieces together, we'll feel with our fingers and nest those seams. Oh, yep, I can just feel that click. And nest the next set of seams as well. We've stitched the top 2 rows together, or the top row and the middle row. Now we'll stitch that bottom row on, and our quilt block will be all done. We can go ahead and trim our dog ears. And we need to press our seams. Again, what direction do we press? Well, since we have this extra bulk, I would say that we go ahead and press it towards the inside so that extra bulk doesn't fold back over on itself. So one side. Other side. And the hourglass block is complete. And that's it for block 6, our hourglass block. Easy to make, right? I'm so glad y'all are joining me for this Cricut Maker block of the week. Make sure you gave this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And as always, make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you get the updates every single week. We have just 3 more blocks to go. Then we'll be adding sashing and border and binding and quilting this quilt.